Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of our chats with the different authors of our new Kickstarter. Today, we got Catherine with us today, or Kat. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Katharine Dow, and I am going to be contributing two stories to the anthology, the original anthology, and then the follow-on, Dave Miller's Flip-Flops of Destiny and The Changing Tree. So nice to meet you virtually.
Yeah, you're international right now. I don't know if we want to talk about that or not.
Yes, yes,
You're in a different
I
country right
am
now. I'll just say that.
I am talking to you from a hotel hallway in Kyoto, Japan. I'm here for my husband's high school reunion.
Oh,
So, yeah.
awesome. All right, so let's tease those stories. So we have two stories. We have Dave Miller's Flip Flops of Destiny. Why don't you tease that one first?
Sure, sure. So for Dave Miller's Flip-Flops of Destiny, to win the game for her struggling baseball team, a goddess asks a depressed fan to take extreme action.
And then a very different story, The Changing
Yes,
Tree. Can you tease that one?
yeah, sure. When human ingenuity fails to protect a besieged village, only a magical tree can save the day.
So both of these have a little bit of a folklore angle to them.
Hmm.
One more modern day folklore with baseball, and the other one's more kind of a sci-fi twist on folklore, like tribal cultural folklore. I don't know, I'm not sure right wording.
Yeah.
Um, so what attracted you to those approaches with your stories?
Well, with Dave Miller, Dave Miller's Flip Flops of Destiny, that one's just a really fun one. I feel like modern sports and baseball in particular is full of superstition and magic and its own sort of folklore. And it's perfect for kind of taking a traditional art form or story form and
Mhm.
modernizing it. You know, there's a price to pay with magic. There's the unlikely heroes, you know, all kinds of stuff, and there's often you know a force beyond ourselves interfering with events. So I thought it would be a really fun thing to take a lot of traditional folklore and fairy tale things and use what exists with baseball to create a fun short story. Yeah.
Oh, what about The Changing Tree? You got a little bit of a
And
sci-fi element there going on.
yeah, the changing tree takes place in another planet. So that's the sci-fi aspect. It's a little bit more the inspiration was maybe a little bit more political, but in a fun way. It's a whimsical story, but it's all about a little village in the middle of far larger you know, forces and kingdoms, and trying to maintain its identity and using all the tricks in the trade they can to do that, but eventually relying on this tree that has protected their village and been the sort of center of their identity. But I won't tell you how they do that.
Good.
but but that one
We'll
is a
keep some
more has
secrets
a
there.
yeah, exactly. That one has a more like a it was inspired a little bit more by the rhythm of fairy tales and folklore, you know, storytelling styles.
Yeah, so this anthology is Fairy Tales, Folklore, and Fables Reimagined.
Mhm.
Hopefully, will be two volumes. And uh, so, what about like as you grew up? What are some fairy tales or folklore stories or fables that maybe influenced you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I I liked all the usual ones that people probably grew up with. Like I've always been obsessed with you know, Bluebeard and the kind of gothic, creepy uh story tells that stories that have maybe an unusual ending or a lesson in there that isn't always that's very clear, but you have to think about it for a second. A lot of fairy tales in
Mhm.
particular end somewhat abruptly, and you you have to try to think of what lesson they're teaching you, what or what warning they're trying to transmit. So I always loved that about that art form and about taking that sort of thing and trying to do a modern spin on it or your own interpretation of what that story was trying to tell. Um, and I liked people, authors when I was a kid who would sort of do their own spin on it too, you know. So it wasn't necessarily the really ancient ones, but you could feel that tradition coming out in their stories. So I'm
Awesome.
happy to see this kind of having a renaissance. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of these types of stories and reinterpretations showing up. I've probably read 4 or 5 different book length versions of Beauty and the Beast, for example. And each one is unique, which I love. Like they each somehow take the same story and create their own interpretation and version of it. And it's fantastic. It's like a bit of a hobby of mine to read another version of Beauty and the Beast every time I find it.
I'm surprised you didn't write a story like that.
Yeah, next time.
Next
Next
time.
time I will. I was a little overwhelmed by choice, to be honest.
Um, so now we have different in the Kickstarter. We have different bonuses, different uh, either different rewards or stretch goals and stuff like that.
Mm,
Can you talk a little bit about one that you did that you volunteered to
sure.
do?
Sure. I have volunteered to do a Tuckerization for Dave Miller's Flip Flops of Destiny. So you can have a minor league baseball stadium named after you or somebody else, or you can have an imaginary baseball player's name on the back of a jersey named after you or somebody else.
Nice,
So those are
nice.
the two options.
I
Yeah.
imagine if you're a baseball fan, that's a pretty awesome one,
Yeah.
especially. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for that. And those are like typically called in the biz Tuckerizations. So,
Yeah.
so if
Yes.
you're interested in that, check out the Tuckerizations.
Yeah.
Um,
You
and
can live
just remind
forever.
everybody, Kickstarter. Yes, you will be
Yes.
immortalized. And just remind everybody you can find, you can at the very least you can find information at cabotcrossing.com to go to Kickstarter or a lot of these or past projects or other anthologies. Um, and then for you, Kat, I have this link here where people can go check you out. You have any other projects in the works that you wanted to mention, or
Not at the moment.
and
Soon,
you
I
just
hope.
edited or co-edited
Yeah.
a novel of mine, so hopefully I'll be
That
announcing that
is
soon.
actually
So,
that is very important. Let me plug that one. Yeah, actually, why don't you plug that one, Mark? It was an absolute pleasure to work on editing it.
oh yeah, well, that's my urban fantasy book, Obsidian Monsters, which is part of Obsidian
Mhm.
Archives. So, which actually my short story in the book, which is like a Three Little Pigs kind of thing, ties. It's actually set in the Obsidian Archives world. So,
Oh, nice, nice.
Diana is the main character of the
Mm.
story. So,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so if
um,
readers like action-packed story with great characterization and big stakes, your book is something they're going to want to look out for.
well, thank you. Well, and you can go to cabotcrossing.com to find out more whenever the announcement gets released. So, it should be soon.
Yeah,
Right now,
yeah,
gotta get this Kickstarter done.
yes. One thing at a time.
um, yeah. So, thank you so much for joining us from Japan and
Mm,
making that work for you. I know that there's a big time difference. Um,
yeah,
but thank you so much. I can't wait for people to read both your stories, and
yes. Me too.
and I can't wait to see who gets their name on a baseball stadium.
Yeah. Me too. It'll be fun.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you.